Looking
Yeah,
forward to it.
so we will be going into Vani Research Station. Now, Vani is one of those, I view it as a chill map. It's so far away and it's pretty easy to defend your natural and your third base that it kind of it makes it so a macro game. It's just really easy to shut down cheese. Now, a lot of times players, I think they meta and they're like, oh, they won't expect me to cheese, so I'm going to cheese. And usually it falls flat on their face because this map really, it's all about House Peddler. It's all about macro play. It really is.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. Unless you're one of those players who's trying to like go against the meta and mix things up on purpose because you know that. But let's go ahead and introduce the players here in the bottom portion of Vani Research Station. We got the Teal Terran player. It is House Peddler for Team
Yeah.
Guns and Roaches.
Now the top 12 o'clock position, playing for Team Composite, we have Tux or Tuxarino. In the yellow trunks, I love that yellow color. It's actually my favorite.
Yeah, you and a lot of people. We love the
So
yellow color over here as well.
yeah,
It's always, especially like in internal clan things, yellow is always a hotly contested color. It's pretty
I
hilarious.
know. Aquila was trying to steal it from me numerous times.
Yeah, she plays yellow for sure. So does
Uh,
Stark, so do I. A lot of us play yellow.
yeah.
All right, so this game's over. They're just going to go ahead and play Smash instead.
So we got 12 gas from I think both players going down. Usually this is just for a Reaper early scout out. 12 gas, 12 barracks. I think there was for both. Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Looking like it. Well, the barracks definitely getting down earlier for House Peddler here, but the gas is already finished. I think it was a gas first coming out of Tux, which,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think so, given
Now,
the fact that it's already done.
early scout for house, I think. Oh no, we've got a barracks going down for a house. This is like prime territory for a Reaper, I guess. He gets just going to get out a little faster. It's his second barracks, so 2 racks Reaper play coming from house. Now for Vani, there is a big area where Reapers can jump up. It's kind of nice, but to be honest, it takes a long time for Reapers to get across this map, and this map is not the best, I think, for that strategy.
Well, he's going to get a little bit of an edge moving his barracks up at least, but the issue he's going to be facing is that there's going to be a fast factory out here
Yes.
for Tux. So if he can get out a Hellion nice and early, then the Reaper aggression is going to be pretty much shut down here. But
Now this SCB Scout is not going to pick up on this barracks from the path that it's taking, which is, yeah, we got that the weeds in this area right below the barracks, so it's really nice actually to put your barracks there. It's just going to look very normal. I wonder if House Peddler is going to bank his Reapers or if he's going to go one at a time, because honestly, if Tux is going for a so he sees one Reaper, kills
and
the
it's not,
SCB.
yeah, denying
And
that scout is pretty huge because when Tux gets into the main and only sees a barracks, he's going to be thinking, all right, well, where's your factory or your second barracks? He's going to know something's up.
yeah.
So
Now
nicely done there from.
now he is going to bank his Reapers. It looks like the one Reaper is not going in, and this is really well. It would be really good if Tux was going for Banshee, but Tux is getting that early Hellion. I think just being safe. He feels like something's up. Bunker going down, and yeah, here we go. Now we do have three Marines.
Yeah, and if they're micro correctly, especially with this Hellion along with this little group, these Reapers are pretty much not going to get anything done.
Yeah.
So the whole opening here out of House Peddler pretty much shut down, like you said, with the long rush distance of Vani Research Station, giving Tuxarino, or Tux for short, I suppose, the time to get out what he needs to deal with this. And now House Peddler's just invested his whole start of the game into these Reapers that are not really going to be that effective.
Yeah. Now we do have a medevac right away. Hellion shot off on the Marines. That was not good for Tux. Did you see that?
Yeah, yeah, a few of those
Must
Hellions.
have been a misclick. Now the Reapers do come up. There is going to be a medevac though, and there's literally nothing in House Peddler's base to defend this drop that is eventually going to happen. Now it is. We do have a command center going down. So if House Peddler can defend this drop somehow, he'll be in a good position. But it's going to be very difficult for him to do that.
Well, the best thing for House Peddler now is that Tux knows these Reapers are on the map, so he can't necessarily just pick up and leave. He is going to leave with just the Hellions, so that's a good play. He didn't pick up any of the Marines, and he's leaving them home, and then he's coming back with the Hellions, so
Yeah.
never mind.
Nice scout. He was going to drop the Hellions on the Reapers thinking that they were going to be on the map, but now he's going to go in with the Marines thinking that it'd be... Oh, Maybe with both actually.
Yeah, he's leaving
This
his base wide open here. The Hellions could actually counterattack, but it looks like he's going to go home with them, so
Yeah,
not
this
good.
is smart. See, I think he's sending the Hellions one route. Oh, never mind. I was thinking that he was hoping to make sure that the Reapers didn't get caught going one path and be like very base trady, but he's just sending everything. I guess this is smart. Hellions are fast, as fast as a boosted medevac. This is gonna be very hard for House Peddler to hold.
Yeah, for sure. The trick here for Tux is actually figuring out how he's going to get up into this main. There's a nice amount of Reapers here for defense, and as long as they're, as a defending unit, they're a little bit better in this
Yeah,
situation here for House
with
Peddler.
high ground, definitely.
Yeah.
I kind of wish that Tux would have elevator laddered into the natural secretly. There's so much dead space that you could get all of this in there, and he'd be in much better position. But Hospitler's he's got a fair amount of stuff that he'll be. I think defending this is gonna be quite easy. An expansion just going down for Tux. We do have a cloaked Banshee though.
Yeah.
Um,
And it looks
so
like
yeah.
House Peddler not necessarily rushing towards that engineering base. So it looks like a nice follow up here coming out of Tux.
Yeah, he was supply blocked House Peddler, that is, and still is for quite some time now. Tuck sniping one of those supply depots, and now the drop is going to be going into the natural. Like I said, this is kind of yeah, it's nice.
It is going to be a nice distraction here from Tux here, forcing all of House Peddler's Marines to come back into the natural, meaning that, well, I mean, I suppose he took everything into that drop anyway, so the distraction isn't necessarily opening up any doors elsewhere, but he's going to just get some SEV kills and pick up and leave.
For sure, he still has some good map vision with just that one Hellion sitting outside the natural, which is nice. Smart play by Tux.
Yeah, and I mean, with the starport only just now finishing up here for House Peddler and trying to get onto this reactor, it's still going to be a little while until medevacs are out on the field. So he has that, like, sort of indirect map vision as well, or map control with his medevac here.
For sure. Now, House Peddler does have a 7-worker lead, which is nice.
I think that's because of the early expansion here. Even with Tux getting some damage done, it still put House Peddler a little bit far behind in worker. Or, sorry, the other way around.
Yeah, he's just starting up production, and I do not think that his natural command center is hotkeyed because no SCVs are being made out of it for Tux. So even though he's got that expansion up, it's kind of just sitting there. That's definitely going to hurt him later in the game. I mean, a 10-worker lead is a big deal from House Peddler. Tux playing really well, but stopping worker production is going to lose you games.
Yeah, he's gotten back on that right now, though. These Reapers are coming to get a little bit more scouting done for House Peddler, but this tank sieged up is going to be all that Tux needs in order to defend against them. He's still trying to be annoying with this drop, but the Hellions on patrol here actually missing a little hole in the natural here, and it's going to allow all the Hellions all the Marines and Hellion to get down here, and these guys are going to get a lot of STV kills.
This is going to definitely help, but once again, Tux is still not making workers out of his natural.
And he does get cleaned up here. He did sort of shorten the gap here, but he's still quite behind in SCVs, so needs to get on that and keep those SCVs producing here so he doesn't fall too far behind. He's actually going to drop a 3rd command center. So I think I like that play, but the thing is, it looks like House Peddler's getting ready for an attack here.
2 medevacs going out for House, yeah. Finally, I think he saw that he wasn't making SCVs. Natural just started making them.
Yeah, he's been a little bit off and on there. The Banshee is getting some harassment done, killing 3 SCVs, forcing a scan out of House Peddler that's not going to do any damage. On the other side of things, I love this. The 2 Vikings patrolling the drop zone here with a missile turret as well. It's possible that these medevacs will not get any damage done, and they might even die if they're not careful.
If he times it right, he could definitely sneak through.
Oh, he did too. Just times it perfectly. And actually, the tank is going to be dropped off, sieging up behind the mineral line. All the Marines getting dropped off as well. Even the medevacs surviving here. This is really bad for Tux.
Yep. To be honest, I've seen like 4 turrets up a Viking, and medevacs still just boost right across. The sketches, it's really hard.
It is going to get cleaned up eventually here for Tux, but he lost a lot there.
Yes, he did.
But that being said, having the 3rd command center finished now, he's going to be able to catch up in SCV production as long as he stays on top of his macro and keeps that going. So all is not lost yet.
Nope. Tuck's cleaning up the watchtower in the middle of the map. Very nice with his Banshee. Um, House Peddler's still up by 5 workers. And Army Supply basically even. It looks like this is just going to turn into a standard macro game. Pretty even from both players after all of that harass.
Yeah, it's kind of funny how that played out here. House Powder does have the production lead, I think, with having the extra barracks up. I'm going to be able to push out units a little bit more. And notice that we still don't see a third command center coming out of him, so he's
Yep.
planning this attack. And the two armies are actually going to meet out in the middle of the field here.
Now,
And I think Tux has the advantage with more tanks.
yes. Banshee going into the main for Tux.
Yeah, nicely done. Staying active with this Banshee. It's so annoying for House Peddler. Finally going to take it down, though. And it looks like both players sort of just posturing for position, trying to figure out where the best place to siege up is going to be. And House Peddler needs to get on this, because eventually this third command center is going to start kicking in. Well, it is kicking in right now for Tux. And he's going to, like, we're actually seeing Tux with a worker lead right now.
需要更多的补给站。
And this is actually going to help him out as well in terms of scanning like they're doing here, trying to find each other on the map. Having a third command center going to allow you to have a few extra scans.
Now Tux scanned the natural earlier. He saw no turrets up. So if this drop can sneak by, it's going to do a lot of damage because House Peddler's army is kind of out of the way. Although a whole bunch of Marines are going down in the natural. So yeah, I think House Peddler's just saw that the army for Tux is a little bigger than his, and he's going to play a little defensive. These medevacs, if they go into the natural, they're going to hit a shitload of Marines. So yeah.
Yeah, here we go. It's going to be pretty much, yeah. I mean, wow, there goes one medevac here from House Peddler. Very well defended.
Yep.
And that did absolutely nothing except just sort of waste time here. So the third, I mean, it did buy him some time. He's moving out the third command center, floating it over. Going to be able to start mining from a third base a lot quicker than House Peddler is. So this is going to be his sort of window of opportunity to get down a few more production facilities and start really macroing up. I'd still like to see a couple more barracks go down for Tux.
Yeah, right now he's only on, let's see, he's making 5 Marines at a time, and
Here we go.
with 3 base play, he needs at least 6 more barracks.
Yeah, he's dropping down a couple more now, and once he actually starts mining from the third base, I'm sure we'll see a few more. Again, players are both just sort of posturing up here in the middle of the map, trying to find a good location to set up. It looks like Tux wants to set up here, but House Peddler's a smart player. He's not going to move into that, so we're going to see those tanks unsiege. Maybe a medevac going down.
Tux has the advantage here. He just has more stuff, especially out in the open. A lot of House Peddler's army was in the main, but now it's actually they're joining forces. This could be a really big engagement. It's going to be all about the tanks sieging and the positioning of it.
Mm-hmm.
So these scans, I mean, it's kind of why the bank of both players is so low. They know that positioning and knowing exactly where your opponent is at all times is so important in TVT. But of course, it's you're sacrificing all those mules, so it's kind of a give or take.
正受到攻击。
Both players sacking Marines. I really like this, just sending one Marine ahead, knowing exactly where the other person is. But it looks like Tux getting here, he kind of has a power position. But he doesn't want to move in. If he can set up a siege at that third where House Peddler can't take it, it's definitely going to put him in the advantage. And the advantage is already there. A 3-base Terran is just going to out macro a 2-base Terran by tenfold. It's super important in TVT, and it's really unfortunate that House Peddler does not have his third up.
Yeah, but that being said, okay, House Peddler just had a pretty successful drop over here in the natural of, oh god, okay, there's an engagement happening in the middle of the map as well. Few tanks going down.
Man.
For Tux there. So House Peddler is really taking the kind of chokehold on the game right now, killing off 10 SCVs in the natural as well as getting a positive trade there in the middle of the map. And now he's the one who can start sort of pushing on Tux to try to get some damage done. But it looks like both of these players are having a bit of trouble figuring out, you know, the perfect TVT positioning here, where you want to siege up your tanks, how are you going to slip in there and actually set up a strong siege line. But I'm sure they'll figure it out eventually.
Yeah, I missed that. Sorry. You should have cut me off. Third going down just now for House Peddler. And yeah, like I said, Medivacs can kind of just YOLO through this turret line, even with Marines there. It's really frustrating as a Terran.
Well, we'll see. I'm not sure if House Peddler is really looking to set up a drop. It kind of looks like he is, but there's only 2 medevacs here. I don't think he really
Yeah,
wants to sacrifice
no,
them.
he feels really good at sniping all those tanks. He knows he could actually just force engage the third. He's not going to go for any drops. There are 5 tanks there set up, but 2 on the high ground. Let's see, 4 on the low ground. Good positioning on those tanks from Tux.
Yeah, I like
Um,
what House Peddler's doing here. He's sieging up on the outside, getting a little bit of vision here, so he can start
Yeah.
shelling away at these barracks. At least he's getting something done here. Actually
sure.
dropping as well.
Yeah, he's kind of secured high ground vision with those few Marines and medevacs, which is nice. These Marines are going to try to drop, but there's tons of...
Tons of House Peddler everywhere there, denying that. And one
Now, we
barracks
talked
is already gone down.
Yeah, we talked about this before. Tux was kind of behind in production. He needed more barracks, so him sniping these 2 barracks is actually a very big deal. It takes a big hit. Now, we do have a drop at the third. House Peddler's going to deny it pretty easily with his reinforcements, which is nice.
Yeah, I mean, he killed off 7 SCVs, but on the other side, we have 18 SCVs going down for Tux, and this is looking pretty bad. But hilariously enough, Tux still has that SCV lead. So this whole time, he's been doing okay, even though it seems like he's taken a lot of damage here. The thing is, the longer this goes on, then House Peddler's just going to... his production is going to kick in, and he's going to be able to take a huge lead here.
Tux really needs to have Vikings just to deny this. Oh, there we go. To deny the medevac vision, and he's just gonna go home here. House Peddler definitely did a lot of damage there, which is nice.
Yeah, but I don't think he actually, like, yeah, he took out a couple barracks, but he didn't do any sort of long-standing damage, as we still have Tux mining off of 3 bases. It looks like both players' income are actually pretty even now, and Tuck's going to go ahead and drop the double command center in his natural, and if he can get away with that for a little bit, set himself up pretty nicely for, you know, once we start to approach the late game here.
Now we do have a big chunk of forces kind of posturing towards Tux's third. Really good position. Ninkazi holding both choked areas. Only medevacs can really get through.
Yeah, and it's pretty interesting here how it looks like House is splitting up his army, and basically, yeah, like you said, 2 different armies here. He's even got a 3rd drop loading up with a significant amount of forces there as well. And being able to control all of this at once is definitely going to be pretty taxing on your APM. But House Peddler doing a great job, picking off a couple drops over here on the left side was amazing for House Peddler. He's actually maxed out against a 130 supply Terran right now.
And it's all about that production. Even though House Peddler was on 2 bases for that time, he had enough barracks to continually produce, and Tux didn't. Tux, like, he kind of prioritized economy over production, and you definitely have to have both.
Yeah, we see a triple drop here, getting ready to try to boost past. I don't know. There's a lot of turrets here. I think that it's going to be pretty dangerous, especially with this Viking here to provide a little bit of support. I'm interested to see what's going to happen here as soon as House Peddler decides to go for it.
He's got, let's see, 5 Marines and a medevac also. So even if he does YOLO, he has enough ground forces to slowly attack whatever gets left. It looks like he's going to go in with these medevacs.
Yeah, he needs to get boosted here. He doesn't want to lose that tank. That's basically
does get
the most
boosted.
support. Oh, God, it's so close. He's going to get in behind the mineral line here, but 2 medevacs are so close to dying. The Viking chasing them out here. He needs to get that tank dropped off.
And it does get dropped off. Man,
very lucky from House Peddler.
As a Terran, it's really frustrating when this happens. I mean, you build all these turrets, you have ground forces, and yet it doesn't matter. How many workers did go down? I don't know if it was that many. And now he's got to move units out of position to defend this.
Yep, so it's going to allow House Peddler to set up an attack again on the main base here. But there's lots of tanks here for Tux. Finally does clean up that drop. He ended up killing off 12 SCVs. And now House Peddler does have a much better income and a much bigger army as well. It's just, as we were talking about before, this map being so defensive here, we can see Tux has a really good siege line set up here, and it's going to be really hard for House Peddler to get in there.
Now after he was dropping there, House Peddler was scanning the third, definitely checking to see if he was going to move any of those tanks to get that little outlet to go in and deny that third. But Tux was smart. He only pulled a few Marines, just enough. He didn't move his tanks, and Hospitaller said, okay, I'm not going to break you this way. You're not going to make any mistakes. So he's just going to go back, get his fourth up, and yeah, this game is going to go on a little longer. Now, I would like to see a transition eventually out of, I mean, Hospitaller's got all these minerals. I'd like maybe another factory or another starport. And he does have another factory going down, but even another starport would do, because eventually you're gonna want to transition to something other than marine tank.
Yeah, so I mean, are you talking maybe some Hellions would be good? Actually, we do have an engagement up here on the left, little plateau, I guess you can call it, over on Vonnie Research Station. And Tux did get a pretty favorable trade there. But the thing is, we got a planetary fortress here. We're going to have sieged up tanks for House. If he does siege up, he is
going to take this engagement. A lot of those tanks do siege up, but there's just too much here.
Oh yeah, that's an absolutely sick engagement coming out of House Peddler. And honestly, like, Tux is broke now. The supplies are more even than expected, but this is just going to snowball.
To be honest, that engagement, Tux definitely killed more, but it just didn't matter. House just had way more stuff.
Yeah, but now we got Tux here trying furiously to macro and get another army out here on the map, but his income is only 800 per second, where Tux is looking at 1600 per second. Or per minute again, so double the income here for House Peddler. Going to be able to keep pushing out those Marines and tanks. He's actually making 2 tanks at a time. So instead of your advice where you said to transition, he's like, no, I need more Marine tank, and he's going ham on these tanks.
No, that definitely is what you're supposed to do with Marine tank. Get a second factory, but you really should do that at the 18-minute mark or 30-minute mark. It's kind of touch and go, but it's because House Peddler denied his third for so long. They didn't have the income to really throw down that second factory. Yeah.
Yeah, so we got this jostling going on again here from both players. House Peddler looking to try to figure out how to snap the neck of Tux here, but the longer this goes on, he's giving Tux a chance to sort of get more tanks out and be able to catch up here.
Now, I love looking at House Peddler's natural. That's how you defend.
Oh yeah,
so many turrets. But yeah, they're just posturing right now up top, trying to get a really good engagement off. Tanks moving back and forth, doing that little I guess dance that Terran does. All right, siege from House Peddler. Continually denying this fourth over here. The gold fourth though is taken, and I wonder if House Peddler knows that. I don't think he does.
Let's take a look at House Peddler vision here. He actually did see it. He's been scanning like
crazy. Does.
So, yeah, he knows better. He's just not sure how to actually get in there. And he's actually taking another bad trade here as Tux chases him back across the map and picks off a few more units here. But House Peddler moving out with pretty much the exact same army on the right side of the map. Yeah. And he's forcing an attack on this gold base.
I wish that the other army would move up also as well for House Peddler. He needs a siege right now. Good siege from him.
Yeah, he's on the outskirts of the planetary range, so he can actually sit here and be okay. But Tux here is taking a great engagement and actually not losing very much and totally cleaning House Peddler up. And now, House Peddler is still ahead in supply, but Tux is really doing his best to stay in this game.
Yeah, it's really nice. Tux actually just has the tank count, and tanks are so important in Marine tank. Talking about that second factory, I think that Tux's second factory was just made way before House Peddler's. And now, even though supply is different, I feel like Tux's army is just a little scarier. Now, we do have 0-1 upgrades on Tux's tanks. What are the upgrades for House Peddler? Let's check. 0-0, and that does make a small difference, too. In a 33-minute game, you'd like to see your army upgrades going. You have so many resources, or did at one point. It's kind of important to prioritize. Tank shots are important, man.
Yeah, for sure, especially when Tux has the advantage of the +2 attack against the +0 coming out of House Peddler here. So he's got that advantage, and I think that's what's allowing him to defend so well with his siege tanks here. He did lose a base over here on the left side, which was a great pickup from House Peddler, and we can see the income is in favor of House Peddler for now because of that. So Tux is looking to try to get another base here, but he actually hasn't built one.
Yeah, now Tux is actually saving minerals in his natural. He's not mining it. That's interesting. Because Hospital is completely mined out with his main natural. His third is even yeah, it's third is doing all right. A big engagement going down. Nice siege up. There's a lot there, and some definite tank shots going down.
Yeah, and Tux is really showing some TVT skill here, but we do have a double drop from House Peddler landing in the natural of Tux, and he's going to be picking off all these extra SCVs. There's really not a lot here for Tux to defend this. So there's going to be a lot of damage going down there, and it looks like both players are actually focused on that one moment here. Now, House Peddler getting some scans down to try to push this away, but this drop is doing so much damage.
Yeah, the drop is definitely going to kind of force Tux into having to do damage with what he has here, and Hospitler's got a really great position, especially next to this planetary fortress, that it's going to be very hard for Tux to force the engagement. And Tux is definitely going to feel kind of threatened after that big drop, losing a lot of eco damage. That was one of his main mining bases.
Yeah, definitely. It was his last remaining one besides the gold base. Like, luckily he's... but...
You know, it's surprising both players not really making many Vikings. If they could just snipe off these medevacs that are giving vision, just with 1 or 2 Vikings pushing those medevacs back is super important in Marine Tank, and I think it's interesting that both players are not making them. I mean, this vision forces. Oh man, that planetary is gonna go down. Big engagement happening though.
Yeah.
Oh, it's GG. Wow.
House Peddler forced it right there at the end, and it just got too much for Tux. And finally, House Peddler gonna tighten the chokehold on that game and take game number 1. Great TVT though, and I think that is just well, obviously it's the first game, but there's going to be more of that in game 2 and game 3, I think.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Tux just was hurting so much from his eco disadvantage from all those drops that he knew with the army he had to get something done. And when it was gone from that kind of 6th round, it was GG.
Yeah. Well done there from House Peddler, taking the first game, going to be leading 1-0, and the next game is going to be on Overgrowth. So I'm really looking forward to see that. As we get the lobby all sorted out here, we'll be getting into that game very shortly. So was House Peddler your pick in this match? Do you think that he's the one who's going to end up taking this series?
I do. I do think that House Peddler's TVT is just a little better.
Yeah.
Tux showing. I mean, actually, both players showing some minor mistakes. To be honest, maybe it's the nerves, but I felt like Tux's major mistake was his eco. Like early, not building SCVs for that long. It's definitely going to hurt you. I feel like he would definitely have maybe even won that game if he had queued his CC. It was really, very strange. It was a good like 3 minutes where it just wasn't making SCVs.
Yeah, for sure. And also, you made a good point about the lack of Vikings there. Like you said, if there was like 4 Vikings for one player, then there's literally no House Peddler saying that was a stressful game. It was.
Yeah.
But without Viking support, I mean, with Viking support, you can completely shut down your opponent's air army and then take the vision control for your tanks. And then, especially like in Tux's point of view, where he had the +2 attack on his tanks, it would have just been crazy for him.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll see some Vikings in this game.
Marine Tank is actually, it's really fun to play, to be honest. I think that there are better compositions, but I tend to favor Marine Tank when I play TVT. It's just straight macro, really good at positioning. There's a lot of YOLO stims, and yeah, I enjoy watching and casting and playing.
Yeah, it's a pretty. I enjoy casting and watching, but I absolutely hate playing it. I don't have the patience for that stuff. I'm one of those guys that if you have more patience than me, eventually I'll just stim all my Marines into your tanks and just get fed up and just say whatever, tanks are OP, and then just leave. But that's
now
me.
you notice that it's kind of it's like a push for Marine Tank. A lot of players, young and new, think, oh, why don't they build Marauders? Marauders are great against tanks, but the idea is not to force your way through. Marine Tank is all about getting that good siege and then pushing your person back and eventually sieging the buildings of your opponent. When you get to that point, that's when you win the game. You don't want to really engage into a siege ever, and you don't really... The thing is, you need that DPS to catch your opponent unsieged, quickly kill them, and Marauders don't don't really have that, where Marines do. Marines can do so much damage in such a short amount of time because of stim and just the way that their unit is made. So you actually don't build any Marauders. So I don't think we saw one Marauder that whole game last game, which is interesting about Marine tank because it's kind of counterintuitive. You might think, wow, Marauders are good against tanks.
Yeah, no, I totally get what you're saying, and it's one of those mistakes new players make. But let's go ahead and introduce the players here on Overgrowth. We have in the bottom left corner of Overgrowth the Teal Terran, currently up 1-0, playing for Team Guns and Roaches. It is House Peddler.
And in the upper right, playing for Team Composite, his buddy Nefari is already making it through to the round of 16, hoping to have his other buddy Tux. So I think Overgrowth, interesting map. I think we probably will see Marine Tank again. This actually is a really good mech map. Also good for Marine Tank because of the high ground. If you see the second, third, and fourth is all high ground, which definitely gives a player with a kind of a siege mentality an advantage. There's a lot of things that you can do to Sim City this map with buildings and with your tanks to definitely just make it very hard for any opponent trying to aggress you to do damage. Now we do have major drop points, as we saw in the last game on Vani Research Station. That natural was kind of one of the main contentions of drops. On Overgrowth, it's your main. This lip in the bottom right, super big area where you're going to see a lot of drops happen. A lot of times people just build egregious amount of turrets there. I think that's how you say that word. Just a lot of turrets. Also, the lip between the main and the natural, that bottom area, you'll see a lot of drops there. If you get some tanks in that high ground, it's a really good area because you can hit the ramp where units get down.
Yeah, for sure, and I'm sure we're going to see something or other like that. Worth noting, the House Peddler barracks again over here on the right side. Going to try to give his Reapers a little bit of a head start.
Yeah, same build coming out for House Peddler, actually.
Yeah.
Actually.
And pretty much same build coming out of Tux as well. The factory just finishing up now. And I'm actually not sure, I didn't catch if the gas went down first or not there. But I'm actually thinking that it was, because we do have the Hellion about to pop out at about the same time. And this Reaper play out of House Peddler, I really don't see it being too effective.
No, but the thing about the Reaper play, to be honest, it's not all in. A lot of people think, oh, T-Rex Reaper is all in. If he just makes 2, 3, even 4 Reapers, he can transition out of it really easily, get that expansion up. You're going to have a lot of minerals. And it's definitely not something, it's just going to put you at a small disadvantage, slightly behind. We do have a bunker going down for Tux. This is interesting. He's going to try to deny this natural as long as possible. Still, Reaper's being made, even though he's not doing damage. But yeah, as you can see, he stopped Reaper production now from his second barracks. Oh, nope, another Reaper going up. So this is interesting. Yeah, he's not going to force the engagement onto the high ground, but he's going to try to hold this natural off as much as possible. Now, with a lot of Hellions, it's going to be a little difficult, but this bunker is getting up, and that's kind of a mistake for Tux. Tux has enough stuff to go down and deny these Reapers, to be honest.
Yeah, but I think what House Peddler's plan here with these Reapers is to actually stop Tux from moving out with a drop, because as soon as Tux moves out with a drop and brings all his army with him, House Peddler can just run in with the Reapers and get some damage done. But it looks like Tux is actually just going to go ahead and move out with the drop and leave the Hellions at home. And I really like this decision, because now if we look at House Peddler's point of view here, there's not a lot of unit here at all. And this drop could be pretty devastating.
Good play from House Peddler. He sees the drop with his Reaper. Tux drops the Marines, pick off the Reaper. He kind of missed that in the middle of the map. And then he picks up, and yeah, he's still going to go. But House Peddler knows that this is coming, which it gives him a slight, he's way better off knowing that this drop is going to come than not knowing. He's going to be able to prepare for this. As you can see, he moved most of his SCVs from his natural away just because he knows he can't defend it. He can't defend 2 places at once with a drop on the map. Smart move from House Peddler.
Yeah, and Tuck's going to actually get a little bit of damage on this command center done. I don't think he's going to kill it, but he is forcing it away. So kind of the same thing that is happening to him on the other side. Not able to get an expansion up here, and he's just going to he's going to run right in here with the Marines, and with medevac support, he can actually do quite a bit of damage here. He's got to micro that medevac. He picks up and leaves. I think it would have been cool if he just pulled the medevac back and kept doing damage, but he is going to keep doing damage here at the bottom of the ramp at least.
Now the thing about House Peddler is he knows that the natural for his opponent is not down, so he doesn't feel too pressured for lifting his natural. Although all these SCVs had mining time that basically House Peddler was not mining and Tux was mining, so there is going to be a big mineral discrepancy between the two players. There is a tank finally up, and he's going to deny this bunker. But naturals are actually going to probably go down at a very similar time. House Peddler did let that supply depot burn down and destroyed. That was definitely a big mistake that could have been easily avoided. And now we have another drop going down. Really nice play from Tux.
Yeah, he's using his micro skills here to sort of pull House Peddler around, and I really like that he's doing that because, like I said before, Tux has a really amazing micro, and he's playing to his advantage here, I think. Finally going to be able to get that command center floated down to the natural, and look at this, he's got a few Vikings on the map here, so he's going to be able to use them for air control, and it looks like he's actually pushing out.
With these medevacs and Vikings, Tux just has way more of a mobile army. He's going to have vision, he's going to be able to drop in more than one area, and it's just going to be really hard for House to handle. House does not have any tanks, and what he needs is tanks in both main and natural to defend this. Does he have any tanks on the map? He's got...
No, he's just getting the tech lab out now.
Yeah. I mean, he could just pick up with everything here, Tux can, and it would be GG if he did. There's no, the entirety of House Peddler's armies in the natural.
Yeah, it looks like they're both posturing around again and doing the same thing. It looks like Tux is trying to like threaten the drop, but with the amount of scans going down, he's actually just going to move up and siege up outside the natural here.
Yep. Just the composition for Tux is just way better.
Yeah, because House Peddler delayed his tech here, getting the 4 barracks up before the starport or the factory. So this is really good here for Tux. He actually has denied this natural, and meanwhile at home he is mining and producing off of 2 command centers. So he's ahead in workers. He's actually ahead in army supply as well, and he's got this amazing position with his tanks here sieged up with Viking support and medevacs. Oh, man. It's going to be so hard for House Peddler to push this back.
All these supply depots going down. House Peddler is even supply blocked now.
Yeah, this is really well done coming out of Tux. He's actually going to lift the siege tank up to the high ground, and here comes the all-in defense, you can call it, from House Peddler. He is going to be able to do a lot of damage and eventually push this away, but he is losing so many SCVs in the process. Literally only has 14 SCVs right now, while Tux has 37 back at home.
Yeah, now I feel like House Peddler knows that he needs to deny the natural, do damage, that he's way behind, so he's going to just YOLO all his army across. Combat Shield is going to probably finish up for this fight, but the problem is that the tech is there for Tux. Tux is just a medevac tank marines. Even though his armies are slightly smaller, he's got way better composition, and he's going to be able to defend quite easily.
Yeah, we do have stim for these Marines, but you can see they're already really injured from the previous fight, so over-stimming here going to be a bit of an issue. And opting to go for the tech lab on his starport here, so I'm guessing we're going to see a Banshee come out. I'm not too sure I like that decision, but we'll have to wait and see what he actually makes. I mean, the longer he sits back here and lets Tux just mine up, he's going to be falling further and further behind.
Yep. Well, he's moving the starport now, so no tech lab.
Yeah, using the starport to get a extra tech lab up there. I suppose he's going to drop a factory on it, or maybe he made the tech lab by mistake. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Got some drops loaded up here. Tux, and that's the good thing, too, about having a lead like this in worker and army supply, is that you can spare a medevac full of units. And House Peddler's entire army is out here in the middle of the map. There's not one thing that can shoot that's at home. So when this drop lands, he's going to get a lot of damage done with it. He's going to force lift off all over the place. He's going to force SCVs running away. He needs to get in there with that drop right now. But it looks like he knows the pressure is coming here from Tux, yeah, or from House Peddler. He does get the scan on it, so he's a little bit more worried about that right now. The drop here is coming in for Tux. He's getting a lot of damage done, and that's all it took. GG coming out of House Peddler. Yeah. Nicely done from Tux there. I love how he used his micro skill to get him that game. because it just that's his edge, right?
Well, he knew from the last game that House Pillar tends to overproduce Reapers in that position, which he's going to set his gas count way down. He's going to delay his factory. So just army composition-wise, Tux has the advantage there. So if he can push early game, he's just going to do a little better.
Yeah, for sure. So that being said, I wonder if House Peddler is going to try something else this game because he's shown the same build twice in a row, and this time we're going to be playing on Deadwing, which is a 4-player map, a little bit more random spawns. So we'll see what type of plan House Peddler has. Because I think the opening that Tux goes for is generally it's safer against a lot of openings that could be thrown at you. So it allows him to continue to do the same build and adapt once he figures out what's coming at him. Whereas with House Peddler, it's like your Reapers have to do damage, otherwise you just put yourself behind pretty much for no reason. So
Yeah, now I think that the build that he's doing is just a kind of an old school Marine Hellion ladder drop, but it doesn't get to that point because Hospitaller keeps on applying early pressure with
yeah,
Reapers.
yeah.
So but that build it basically early tanks kind of just deflect that build. If you put which is something that Hospitaller is delaying. So I wonder if we're gonna see less Reapers, earlier factory from Hospitaller. I think it's what needs to happen for him to make that adjustment against Tux. Basically, Tux is not getting tanks, and it doesn't matter how much. What's the word? It doesn't matter how well you can micro your Hellion Reaper. One siege tank can basically defend a whole area against that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. So we'll see. We're going to be seeing a. Well, I mean, I don't know. We saw Tux with some scouting early to be able to figure out what was coming at him. So we'll probably be seeing that again. All right, Deadwing. Deadwing is an awesome map, and I think it has potential for some really good late game play here, especially with the three bases that you can get really easily, and then even the fourth base just tucked right in there as well. Really sets you up for a nice long macro game. I love the opening in the center, and all these little pillars that seem inconsequential, but then when you're actually out on the map trying to set up fights around them, you realize that you can actually set up some really good tactics around them. So loving this map. But let's go ahead and introduce the players here. We do have House Peddler in the top left corner, the Teal Terran for Guns and Roaches.
And for Team Composite playing in the yellow trunks, we have Tux, or Tuxerino. Good luck, have fun coming out of House Peddler.
All right, so this is the the time of the game where we just kind of sit back and take a look and see who's going to do what and look for adjustments made by both of these players. Like I said before, I don't think Tux really has that much adjustments to make because of his build, allowing him to defend the early Reaper stuff, and then also has the option to put on pressure. Like you said, where it's really meant to actually put on pressure, but because of the fast factory, you get that Hellion out to defend early pressure as well. So it's a little bit of a jack of all trades there, which I like.
Yeah, no, it's one of those builds. I think 4GG made it popular, and he had some sick record on it when he was playing in WCS EU in his TVT specifically with something like 47, which is unheard of. And yeah, it's really nice. It's nice because you can do a lot of things with it. You can even just keep on pumping Hellions. I've seen that 4GG, depending on what you see, he has like a ridiculous amount of Hellions sometimes, getting up to 12, 14 if you really want to. Now, I don't that playstyle has kind of gone out of style, but it just shows that you can do a lot of different things with that build.
We have okay, it looks like it's just a scouting SCV because we seem to be having the same build coming out of both players here, but it looks like House Peddler going to keep his barracks at home this time. So maybe looking at an adjustment here. But with the early gas coming out of Tux, we both could have bet money on it that we're going to be seeing that fast factory coming down.
Yes. You can tell he's very comfortable with this play style. And that he's also very adaptive.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the best thing about the 1-1-1 opener is that it's so adaptive. It allows you to pick and choose what you want to do and switch it up if you have to defend anything specific. Interestingly enough, though, we do have House Peddler, the one coming out with the scout and getting a look at things here, whereas I feel like Tux would have been gathered a little bit more info with his scout. Just because of the fact that House Peddler seems to be the guy who likes to do different things, where Tux is pretty happy to go the same thing every game.
Yeah, we do have a reactor going down for House.
So that's where
No
he's going to
factory
spend his
just yet.
first gas. Yeah, he's delaying his factory again. He likes those Marines, I guess. Going to be getting out a nice defense here. I mean, once he scouts that out and he's seen the Hellions in the previous games, I guess he's going to go home with that information and just try to defend a drop. Get that reactor up nice and early. Oh, he's dropping a command center here
Yeah,
really
playing safe.
fast. He's going to have to be careful here because we're going to have, that Hellion drop that we've been talking about coming out of Tuxerino here. So, going to be interesting to see how House Peddler deals with this.
Now, to be honest, if he throws a tech lab on that factory right away, he's going to be in a fairly good position to deflect it. But with if he needs to get an early tank. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see if that's what he's going to go for here. Still only on one gas, so looking like he just wants to get out a lot of mineral-heavy units here, like the Marines, and maybe even some... I mean, like you said, the one tank is going to be really important here, so he will have enough gas for that, but not if he wants to build a starport right away.
Really nice from Tux. Tux throwing a fake tech lab down for that scan, and then basically getting rid of it as soon as the scan goes away and getting that early medevac. I don't think that House is really going to be fooled by that, per se. But he is building 2 Hellions. So it's not bad. I feel like I prefer a tank in this position. But the Hellions, it's just going to be who can micro the Hellions better against each other. And it's, yeah.
If that's what we're going to see here, then I got to tip my hat to Tux here and give him the edge because his micro just seems to be insanely good, and he is coming up with some Hellions now, picking off a Marine on the way up. So House Peddler knows this is coming, and he's actually most likely going to have 4 Hellions by the time this attack comes. The one thing he's not going to have is any type of air unit here, but it looks like, yeah, Tux is going to be showing up with his drop pretty soon here. We're about to see it. Tux is going to be moving in with this drop and try to get some damage done. Going up the ramp here, realize that House Peddler did drop an expansion and is pretty well defended here.
Yeah,
And,
nice concave from House Peddler.
yeah, great positioning here. And actually, Tux is going to try to drop around the edge here. And it looks like he might catch Tux off guard, or House Peddler off guard.
I think so. The mobility of this build really shows. He can really poke in and get small advantages just from these small harasses that he's going to be able to do. Definitely going to get some damage.
Yeah, but the amount of Hellions here, we have so many Hellions for House Peddler.
Yeah. 1 Marine does go down, but for 50% on a supply depot, not bad. I wonder if he'll drop that again and try to, yeah. Looks like he's poking again. Buddy, now he sees that 4 Hellions of Nikazi's own, or sorry, I keep on saying Nikazi, House Peddler's own are coming out. Nice drop from Tux.
Yeah, he's definitely trying to set something up here, but it's pretty well defended from House Peddler, so he is... I mean, Tux is going to have to be really careful here, or catch House Peddler unawares, but it looks like he's just going to go ahead and try to drop... Oh, wait, no, that's that's House Peddler's own medevac dropping on himself. I was like, what? That doesn't seem smart, but it does if you're House Peddler, so never mind.
So House Peddler is going to take the natural now. The natural's been down for a little bit for Tux. The orbital just up. So slight mining advantage from Tux.
Yeah, he's going to be able to... well, I mean, it's actually going to be pretty even at this point when both command centers finishing up orbitals at the same time, or on the floor in the natural here, going to be mining around the same time. So nicely done by both players here, and really it's just about who's going to do something different here. And House Peddler really dropping that production now, getting 2 engineering bays, a couple extra barracks. So it looks like he's the one that's going to have the edge in production as we move into the mid game.
Yeah, I feel like the early part of this game is over, and now it's just going to be some macroing up for both players, maybe some posturing. There'll be some minor excursions going on at the middle of the map, trying to take over. Whoa, a whole bunch of damage going down on all those Hellions.
Yeah, these guys are going to be pretty weak moving up here. They're going to try to poke into a couple tanks, and I don't think that's the best decision here, especially with a Viking out providing vision for Tux here, so this is not going to do too much. So we're just sort of macroing up here, getting into the mid game. Both players making SCVs, going to try to get a good income going. We don't have any gas in the natural yet. Oh, just as I say that, Tuck's going to go ahead and get a third gas for him.
Slight difference from both players. Houspeddler getting his +1 shields first, and Tuck's going for +1 attack. Usually, in TVT, you kind of want to get +1 shields before +1 attack, because after one player stims, if the person that gets +1 attack who has combat shield does not stim, they kill off the stimmed Marines really fast. Just because they have double, basically, armor with combat shield and +1 armor, whereas the +1 attack doesn't have that, and they're stimming, which is already hurting them. So it's a little interesting in TVT. In TVZ, it's totally different. You want to get that +1 attack because you have range on most Zerg units.
Right, yeah, no, that is interesting. That's something I didn't actually think about, so good to know here. All right, so what do we
Drop
got?
going down, but cleaned up nice for Houspeddler. Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, he picked that off pretty easily here, getting a turret in the main as well. And it looks like we're just going to be having Marine tank versus Marine tank again. Both players opting to get a couple more Vikings, though, and I do like this. I'd like to see more consistent Viking production, to be honest. I know the medevacs are important, but if you have more Vikings and you can pick off your opponent's medevacs, then it really doesn't matter. In that case, you have more Vikings, and the opponent has no air at all, so you kind of just win there.
Yeah, Houspeddler picking off that medevac was really nice with his Vikings. Pretty even game from both players. We have even worker supply, almost even worker supply, almost even army supply. We do have
run by here.
Yes. Oh.
So much damage going down. Even though these Hellions are really weak and going to be cleaned up pretty easily, that's 11 workers being taken out from Houspeddler here and forcing the entire Tux army back. So Houspeddler going to be able to have a bit of a lead here in terms of income for a while.
Yeah, really nice. I mean, it's kind of trading army supply now for knowing that you have army supply later. Because he basically sacked those Hellions. So right now, Tux has a slight army advantage, but killing 11 workers, that income that could be used for a future army is not there anymore. And it is for Houspeddler. And Hellions really, during the later section of the game, are not that they're not that worthwhile to have. You would rather have tanks, Marines, and other units anyway. So that sacrifice from Houspeddler is actually really nice. He did it exactly when Tux was out of position with his tanks too, which is nice. Now, like I said on Overgrowth, that big Doom drop's going on in that lip in the main.
Yeah, the same type of lip here, and he's going to get 3 siege tanks sieged up here. This is actually really dangerous for Houspeddler. A nice counterattack. But he's got so many Marines here with combat shield that he actually is not even really taking that much damage. And you know what? He cleans that up pretty nicely, and he's going to keep his supply lead.
Yeah, really good spread there, making sure that he didn't clump up so those tank shots didn't do too much damage. Now, I understand why Tux did that. Tux saw that at that moment that his army supply was going to be definitely lower because basically in that big engagement, Tux only lost workers. He didn't lose army supply, so he definitely had a slight army advantage. He wanted to do something just then. There was just too much for Houspeddler at that time, though. Really, I feel like nice micro to make sure, because it's really easy to move your Marines and then they clump up. So that was good on both players' parts, the thought process of going around. And now Houspeddler knows he has the advantage of both now and later because he did that economic damage.
Yeah, exactly. But Tuck's actually doing a really good job here, evening out the SCV count. He does have the 3rd command center already done and producing SCVs, where we don't have that once again coming out of Houspeddler.
Well, actually, the 3rd is down for House, so.
Oh, geez, there it is. Yeah, and actually, it's mining. I can't believe I missed that. This is it's because I'm used to Tux having the faster 3rd base, but this time,
yeah, right.
Houspeddler really making that adjustment here, and yeah, he's in a great spot.
I like the tank positioning, though, for Tux. Good spread. It's not easy to break this. Even though Houspeddler has one more tank and the Viking advantage, Tux really taking that high ground kind of advantageous point with that one tank, putting 2 tanks in the... Oh, sorry, one of those tanks was hidden from the medevac, so tank count actually even. But also, I really like this fight for vision in the center of the grab. You'll always see 1 to 2 Marines going across, taking that vision. It's really important. Problem is, Tux has no idea that this is going on. Basically now, I mean, House says, I have a 3rd, I'm not going to let you get your 3rd up, which is really nice.
Yeah, and I like the play from Housepeddler. We're going to see if he actually pulls Tux back because it looks like that's actually not the case. And Tux is going to go set up a similar position over here on the Housepeddler side of the map. And this time he's actually sieging up a base and forcing a liftoff. Where with Tux he was sort of just denying. So this is more effective coming out of Tux right now.
Yeah, Tux kind of said, wow, you did that? That was a good idea. I'm going to do it. But Hospitaller said, wow, I'm going to try to sandwich you. And Tux knows that he's kind of in a vulnerable position with armies on both sides, and he does the right thing and lifts off and gets out of there. And now he's definitely going to go into the natural. Now, the natural usually at this point in the game is pretty weak to drops. A lot of Terran players, it's not your primary area to defend. Just one turret there. If Tux YOLO's in there, he's definitely going to be able to do a lot of damage.
Do have some Marines causing some havoc at the third base. Meanwhile, 3 tanks landing here. Yeah, he's going to get in. He's going to siege up, and he's going to force another liftoff, most likely anyway, on this natural. Actually, the spread is very good once again coming out of Housepeddler. He's actually going to clean that up. He lost 8 SCVs, which is a bit tough, but overall, not actually too much. Now, we do have a SCV lead for Tux, though. Again here. So this is looking very similar to game number 1, where both players are just attacking and defending and attacking and defending and basically taking turns like a turn-based strategy game. So I wonder what we're going to see Housepeddler do this time.
Yeah, it's almost like a tag team. All right, it's your turn. It's my turn. Now, let's look at upgrades. We do have +3 attack, +2 shield for Hospitaller going down, and for Tux is still on 1-1, so Hospitaller definitely has that big Marine advantage. Now that upgrade advantage I feel like is why Hospitaller is able to basically deflect these drops easily. His just Marines are doing way more damage than Tux's Marines. Also we have 0-0 on tanks and 0-0 on tanks. Now at the 20-minute mark, both players really need to kind of prioritize armory upgrades. They have the money for it, and a lot of Terran players, I think, are a little lazy about it.
Yeah, it looks like we do have that coming at a Tux here finally, and +2/+2 literally finished up right as you were talking about the upgrades there for Tux. So the bio units are a little bit more evened out here, but this, I mean, Housepeddler is really good at taking these big engagements and getting amazing concaves, and he totally cleaned Tux up. But the hilarious thing is Tux has a supply lead still. He's
right?
The same army back at home.
2 Rambo Marines taking out so many SCVs. We had 10 SCVs going down from those 2 Marines. Now that's worth.
Yeah, for sure.
Some nice scans from Housepeddler. Housepeddler, I think, was feeling really comfortable because he kept on denying that third, but I'm not sure if he knew about this fourth, and he knows now that fourth fully saturated. So that's kind of got to be a discerning scan coming out of Housepeddler, seeing like 30 SCVs mining at that third, when he knows that he had to lift his third. Not only that, but a lot of SCVs were not mining for a lot of that time.
Yeah, exactly, and this is Tux setting himself up pretty nicely here, actually switching things around in game 1, where Housepeddler seemed to always have the edge. In this game, it looks like House is really pushing that advantage, or Tux, sorry, is really pressing that advantage. I am getting really confused with these 2 players' names.
Another big drop for Tux, going down and doing some more economic damage. Housepeddler's going to go attack, but I feel like, yep, it's going to get cleaned up. We do have 2-1 for Housepeddler, so 2-2 for Tux, definitely going to help him out in this situation.
Yeah, we do have a pretty nice siege up here for Housepeddler up on the high ground, and he's actually doing lots of damage with these tanks. Too bad the tanks are too close, though, and they're actually still in range of the Marines down there, so not able to sort of keep this up. He's going to try again because he's got a couple extra tanks, or he's just going to pull back and realize that wasn't really the best point of attack.
Is there any lag?
I've noticed like little spikes of lag, but not for quite a while. And just as you say that, now I see the lag kicking in quite a bit here.
That was me. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I just need to not alt tab.
Okay, so again, we do have Tux here with a pretty huge lead. He's got 70 SCVs, but you know, the longer this goes on, and once Housepeddler starts to get closer to maxed out, the SCVs might actually be a bit of a detriment to him, taking up a lot of army supply that could be used for more Marines and tanks. But for now, it's good, for sure.
Once again, this vision in the middle of the map is super important. Nice siege from Tux. getting just one tank shot up. But it's these little sieges that pick away at the army supply. It's really easy to, have that golden carrot. Another drop at the 4th for Tux too. But that golden carrot of seeing that your opponent is unsieged and to try to dive on him and then just get cut off by other tanks that you don't see in your vision, or maybe him sieging quickly enough. And I feel like both players are doing a really good job of not kind of biting for that carrot.
Yeah, exactly. We're really not seeing anyone get too caught out or get too overextended. I've seen it happen with Tux once or twice. Most of the time, he's already done damage, though, before he does get cleaned up. So things have been pretty even. These two players are a really good match for each other here as they keep jostling for position, trying to figure out how to hurt each other.
Yeah. Now, we do have a supply, but the big difference is worker supply. We have 70 workers for Tux and 46 from House Peddler. Army supply, very similar, though. Very even.
Here we go.
Nice siege up. This is going to be really bad for House Peddler. So many tanks just getting a lot of damage done. And now that army supply is pretty much in Tux's favor with 20 army supply.
Yeah, Tux really got a good engagement there, and he's going to unsiege and try to move a little bit closer. He's sort of leapfrogging his other tanks and going to try to siege up and really choke out House Peddler here. But look at this. We got Vikings
another
in
drop.
here.
We do, but I mean, so many tanks for Tux. He knows he has that tank advantage, and that tank advantage is really important. We do have a drop in the main going down once again, and House Peddler kind of needs all his Marines in the front. Tux having that army advantage. And these, yeah, they're going to take out the armory, which is actually not that big of a deal. Yes, it's going to delay tank upgrades, but 3-3 is going to be done because it's already started.
Yeah, 3-3 actually just finished up now.
So House Peddler has the upgrade advantage, but definitely still down with the army supply. Actually, now that I look at it, House Peddler has the army supply, but because his worker count is so low.
Yes, he does. And this is where, I mean, Tux has to be really careful because he seems like he's trying to get the win here. But if he overextends and if he gets caught moving his tanks closer, he's going to be in a lot of trouble here. We actually have House Peddler unsieging and moving his army around. It's going to be spotted by Tux. So I wonder what the players are going to do here.
Yeah, trying to be sneaky. The thing is that he has the high ground over there. Well, he's kind of giving it up. Nice siege up from Tux, just getting a little bit closer, and a big engage going down. And House Peddler does the right thing, backs away. I mean, both players are basically 200-200. The tank count did get caught up for House Peddler. He's kind of donating some Marines so he can make more tanks, which is smart. But really nice play from both players.
Yeah, again, both players just pretty much, sieging up, trying to catch the other guy out of position here, and it's taken a while for something to actually really happen here. But with the position that Tux has, he's actually forcing a liftoff over here, and this one Marine is eventually, if left alone, going to kill that supply depot one day.
Yeah, right. Now, I mean, Tux is kind of doing the spoon strategy. He has basically denied House Peddler any bases on the right side. Small engagement going down with the reinforcements on the left side. House Peddler cleaning up, but he's only got about 10 Marines left that are going to be cleaned up by the other reinforcements. But it did move Tux out of position.
Yeah, and it's going to free up House Peddler to sort of move around a little bit more around his own base here, forcing Tux back a bit.
Taking this position, it was, like I said, Spoon Terran. Day9 used to talk about this a lot, and he just says, cut off your opponent from the map and take it, and slowly go ahead. Now, big engagement going by. Tanks are not sieged up for both players. This could be House Peddler's chance to gain momentum. All these tanks going down. This is really big, and it was all because of momentary lapse from Tux, just not having his eye on his army at all times. And now...
Yeah, that was huge from House Peddler. He picked off so many tanks there. Now the script is flipped. Once again, we have actual House Peddler sieging up over here and going to be forcing a liftoff over at the third base for Tux.
Yeah, and it seems like the roles are reversed now that House Peddler now has basically cut off Tux from that half of the map and is now spooning towards taking advantage of all that map control. I would love to see House Peddler run a 5th and 6th base and just send a few Marines over there.
Yeah, I agree. I think now is his time.
That 5th and 6th.
Yeah, for sure. Now is his time to actually get a couple more bases built if he wants to keep up this income advantage that he can build himself. But it looks like he, oh, right as we say that, look at that, command center going down, but instantly gets canceled here from Tux. Very nice active Marines on the map here. So once again, both players just trading scans here, trying to figure out how to hurt each other, which has pretty much been the story of this series here. This series has been incredibly intense in terms of TVT, Marine tank versus Marine tank. It looks like Tux is going to try here, but again, it goes back to those Vikings, I think. Right now, House Peddler having an issue pushing forward because these Vikings are pushing away the medevacs. I think if one player decides to just go into consistent Viking production, let's say like House Peddler right now, because he's got a major bank here, I really think that they could benefit from it. All right, so again, I mean, these guys are still pretty much just sitting here, just trading scans with each other. Tuck's getting a nice trade over here on the left side of the map. He keeps denying these expansions from House Peddler, actually not even getting a cancel there, and he might get a second one down here on the low ground.
Yeah. Now, I really wish House Peddler would just send a few units. Okay, now he sees with these with this drop going over there, he must see those command centers, right? And they're not planetaries. Yeah, he's gonna drop on them, and force a lift. Now the thing is, House Peddler's not really suffering for minerals.
No, not at all, or even gas technically. So that's why I'd like to see some more Vikings coming out of him, just to help out his army. Now, both players just killing each other's command centers here.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, and Tux, though, he's been running free with these Marines for quite a while now. He's actually
doing so much damage. I don't understand where the reinforcements for House Peddler are.
Yeah, he's...
Oh, House Peddler's actually supply blocked.
There's been a lot of buildings being killed here from Tux.
Yeah.
All right, but he's going to be in a little bit of trouble here with this group of Marines out because they're so injured from all the stimming and only one medevac. He's actually going to go ahead and get cleaned up now. So finally cleaned up from House Peddler, but he took a lot of damage there.
What a strange game. Now we do have the main mined out, the natural almost mined out for Tux, the fourth mined out. So Tux really is on, is he on any bases mining right now?
You know what? You make a good point. I think that's the last one. These like million SCVs are trying to pick up every last mineral here, and then Tux is going to have no income. Also, though, House Peddler is not mining either. Both of these players only mining gas right now.
Yeah, and it's all about that bank, and House Peddler's not spending his money. He's just like, whatever. He's not building supply depots. He's just chillaxing, man. That's so funny.
He's building more command centers.
Okay, now he's spending money. Okay.
Yeah, but without making those supply depots, he's not going to be able to...
Oh, wow, look at all these SCVs going down in the middle of the map. That is so many. Wow.
Yeah, House Peddler getting a nice catch here. Didn't pick them all off. There's still about 20 here or so, and Tux has found a base to mine from. So the longer he can keep mining from this base, the better he's going to be.
Now, he must have mule hammered hard because his income just skyrocketed.
Yeah, he's got some mules here for sure. And House Peddler is about to be able to mine from his fourth base as well. So again,
but
both players...
Oh, Tux is spending his money. It's just mules are good. Wow, 800 minerals that second that he just spent.
There's a big drop here, but Tux collapsing on it very nicely, able to push that away. He killed pretty much every medevac, only one surviving here, so nicely done from Tux. And eventually, these players are going to be able to go and do damage to each other.
Now, army supply in House Peddler's favor, only by minuscule amount. Basically, they are the same, but worker supply definitely in Tux's favor, 50 to 32 workers. But at this time, you kind of just want orbitals, which was really nice for Tux to pick up all those orbitals that he killed. He must have killed like 4, right? Which was kind of why the supply difference was a big deal. And strangely enough, at 37 minutes into the game, House Peddler was supply back to like 140 because 4 CCs got sniped. You don't really see that often.
Yeah, I know. It's pretty crazy.
So many tanks for Tux in the high ground. This is very dangerous. House Peddler's got to be very careful here. He cannot lose his army. really good job from Tux with those hit squad marine in the upper right hand corner of the map, searching for any mining bases that he can shut down. He knows this is a mineral game now. He knows that House Peddler really is only on 2 bases, but so is Tux, only on 2 bases right now. And actually, one of them only 3 mules on it, so he's basically just on 1.25 base.
Yeah, exactly, and that's kind of the story of this game here. As both players have been harassing each other so hard, it's pretty, it's tough for them to be mining consistently here. So any time that they can spend mining is good time here. And Tux is kind of getting the better of it right now. But
yeah, his army composition is just better. So many more tanks because
yeah.
he's got way too many marines. And now, like I said, he can push across the map, slowly siege, and eventually he's going to be sieging those bases that are mining, and that's going to be a
升级
problem.
完成。
If Ninkazi has to lift this base, it's a big deal.
So the tanks are sieging up. They're going to be able to get some nice damage done. The Medivacs providing vision up there. A lot of SCVs going down here. Actually,
Now,
House Peddler only has 19 SCVs now.
Yeah, House Peddler says YOLO. If you're going to deny that base, I'm going to deny this base.
And he's losing a lot of Marines.
Going down. He's going to win this engagement, but at what cost?
At the cost of the game. GG coming out of House Peddler, and that was a really intense series. Great job by Tux. And you know, as you said before, this was the toughest matchup most likely for Tux. So getting that out of the way and coming out with a win is a really good sign because he's going to get to face either a Zerg or a random player coming up in the next set.